We'll ask the to sit somewhere there and we can bring that camera also this side and get another footages from this angle.
Where is the link? YouTube link? You sent it from my account? Your account? At least.
One angle we can show that camera. They are there and let's check the volume.
It's not a panel. Banned it all. 15 seconds. Need to check.
So is it like ambient, Five weeks of mood हो गया.
They are taking out.
Let me just. Sir, light is bit less.
Video quality is substitute. I am only permanent and not network. So I cannot monitor. I am monitoring at a very low quality. I am monitoring very low
Hello all. My name is Aarti. I have been part of the group development, specifically on how the live sessions were. Did you need any extra communication from us during the session? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? So if you can raise your hand, I'll just come to you individually and take those feedback so that we can incorporate some of these changes in the upcoming runs of the MOOC course.
ಭರತ್ ಇದು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಬೇಡ ಅಲ್ವಾ
ಬಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ
ಆಚು
Thank you, Adi. I just want to know whether it's a self-evaluation part, no, that is standing blank in the progress. So I was wondering, is that considered for evaluation?
The sense section.
Yeah.
It is considered for evaluation, and this is why have you submitted via email or that
Link on time.
online?
Yeah.
And you had performed the second part where it shows the mistake and you had to make your assessment point.
No.
Okay, so what? There are two steps in the self-reflection assessment itself, where the first step is where you actually go ahead and your ideas, and the second step, which starts from 1 week after you submit, is where it shows you the rubric and it tells you how many points you need to allocate to your.
Oh, I missed.
That is the only reason why it's not shown.
Okay. Okay. So is this, if you do not clear this part, is it necessary that 60% is needed to get selected for your booking?
In case, however, if you have submitted and due to some technical issue, the evaluation did not go through, professor will definitely consider your submission.
Okay.
And I think that is something that we have not done, because this is the first time we are exploring this move and some of the evaluation was slightly challenging. We want to do that exception. So even though we have submitted, we will be
It's interesting. Thank you.
Similar, right? Like the content part of the curriculum is very clear. Okay. 1 week, 2 week, 3. That is very clear and all the videos. The only thing confusing was on this week 2 and 3 assessment thing. Yeah. And also even now, like last week's assessment and this week's assessment, what is it? A little confusing. Like all I know is now we have to submit lean canvas, we have to submit intimations of lean canvas and a video. That's all. So it would be good if you can just make it very clear. Like only this is due, right?
Yeah, so I know that there was a little bit of confusion where then we gave week 4 assessment. It was just simple multiple choice question where we had to just answer 10 questions. But because lean canvas was covered in week 4, everyone thought that they had to submit the business plan in week 4 itself. I think that was something that we missed out. We didn't actually realize that that caused confusion. So week 4 was simple MCQ submission only. Week 5 is where you will have to submit your business plan. Correct. So whatever due dates we have provided, you can. Yeah. Unfortunately, the system cannot be updated from backend for submissions that we have given last week. So for the MOOC course itself, anything which happens on the platform is recorded and we cannot do any backend update. However, it is considered for your the shortlisting process. Your submission will be
Made the grade for people who have submitted via email.
week 2, yeah. Bharat would be able to answer. Week 2 submissions, people who send it through email, would you be able to confirm to them if they're still?
I won't be able to confirm for you guys, but we did consider that.
All the lists that we have already submitted and we have waited for that. At least an acknowledgement saying that yes, we have received.
I think that can be done. That we will do. Yeah. So, I think that's
Survey we have made a guess now we can get the new survey.
Sorry.
The survey is not reflecting in the progress
So,
file.
I know this is a question that a lot of people had asked. So when you submit the survey, the actual survey input is received by us. But for you to get points for the survey submission, you have to answer that simple question right below the survey, which says, have you submitted your survey? Yes or
Bharat.
no. If you have said yes, then your points will reflect in the progress bar.
But no, it is not.
ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ಥರ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರು ಈ ಥರ ಸಿಗ್ತಾರೆ ಹಾಫ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ನನಗೆ ಆಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಬೇಕು ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಫೇಸ್ ಹಾಫ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಫುಲ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಎಡಿಟಿಂಗಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾಸ್ ಇದಾಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ
Like you said, the survey was very much completed, right? There was no submission there, it's what I something that you could do on your own for your experience. The submission was again.
But
When it comes to this 26th December.
I think one base part is the Roshan.
We need to check. What is the wait? When are you shooting?
So there is also one more issue. Maybe you guys mixed up the entrepreneurship survey along with the pre-course survey. There is a pre-course survey which is optional and it's more like a feedback for us. But the entrepreneurship survey, which was to be submitted as part of one assignment, to get points for that, you have to clearly select the option saying yes, I have submitted this survey. Otherwise, the points will not reflect in the progress bar. Again, I can take this issue offline. The email that I sent to you earlier, it clearly gives a discussion thread where you can raise these queries and I will be able to resolve that.
When you talk about discussion threads, there are times that I have posted questions for which I've never tried it out.
Okay.
And many times where the webinar happens, it's not clear. When the professor talks, it's clear, but the questions that are put forward, there's a person reading it, isn't it? It's never clear, and his voice comes in and out as if he's moving and he's far away. So half the question,
I would say we, I assume yes, that is what.
But I just flagged it earlier, right?
I did mention once or twice, but it was never
You did?
responded to
I
more,
also
so.
mentioned that.
Sometimes,
Questions
yeah.
are not clear. During the webinar, like, no, we can't, like,
So you all can't see the questions, is
no,
it?
we can't hear. We can't see
No,
the
there is- there is-
questions.
Can't hear. No question written is coming. No questions.
Oh, you don't get to see the questions at all?
No, they don't get to see the questions. As well as, there was a chat when we asked certain questions and I did yeah, out of that, could be when somebody asks a similar question, it could be different for each one of us, but they could belong to one category. So what I did is I understood from that and logically tried to get my answer and I thought, okay, well, every question cannot be answered. But then I put in a couple of things on the curriculum where I wanted the overlap of, 3 sections that overlaps. Where I sent a mail, but I haven't received any mail reply. I do understand you all have a lot of mails out there, but then for me, it could be a couple of things which are very important for me to understand the learning, not a technical thing. Because when I understand the learning is when I can progress to the next stage.
Where did you put it into this discussion? So the thing for us has been that the questions coming in, people are not asking the same question in the forum that they're asking. So people are opening up a new discussion. So it's becoming pretty hard for both Nidhi and Bharat to look at these questions which is why we are trying to say that ask 3-4 questions, ask 3-4 questions. And whatever question has been said, like ask the professor, I tend to answer most of the questions, at least one line, yes, no, or I don't think
I did notice that, but then I realized that among 5-6 others who had asked, none of my questions were replied, but some of my questions were very similar to the others. So I thought,
it's like they have to figure out because I've answered one person here, and the same question is coming up in another
correct, that's
discussion.
what it is.
And then I forget it. Right?
Yeah, yes, of course.
So yes, it would make your life easier if I can answer the same
No, we can
follow-up.
logically understand,
That
that is
was it.
okay. But all the learning, what I did is I made questions because there was this option where we could mail also to do your venture, where I did mail, which was part of, for me, it was part of the course, it was more on the course material, not technical, it was not a technical question, it was on content, where I wanted to understand more.
So did you actually put it on Ask the Questions? We assumed it as you have sent us the submission. So that's the assumption that we have
The
made.
submission was said, this was apart from that, I wanted to understand it more. Because, sort of many times when I learn
So
something is when I start
for
thinking
faculty.
also, and I come up with my doubts a day later after I've submitted. Yeah? So then I put a mail.
But why did you not ask for faculty?
I think I did over there also.
And then I ignored it? Okay, I'll look up, I have to own up as, okay, if you had put it up and I answered my mistake. We tried to answer most of them. I have never even gone into ask the, whatever questions you've been asking, Bharat, I didn't get into that discussion board at all. I'm just getting into discussion. It's just that week 4 questions, week 5 questions, ask the faculty member, those are the ones that I'm getting into and taking into, right? So, anyway, I can take over.
Just, I really would want to thank the learners though, because this is the only course that, MOOC course, we have 20 other MOOC courses that we have run even with global audience. This is the only MOOC course where, we probably had 80% participation in the discussion forum. Other than this, no way we know that this is the only place we know that, wow, there are people active, and I think Bharat spends close to about 8 hours every day.
You can stand up. She has been taking up a lot of these questions.
So with that, yes, Bharat. You read this?
So you also now realize why we are so unprepared for a lot of questions that you're asking, because this is like unprecedented in terms of when we said, okay, Nidhi take over or Bharat take over. So there will be a few questions you guys can manage it. And once they're factored and said, okay, they're going to do it, so I kind of held it up to them saying that they are the ones who promised to look at this too. But we're kind of happy that there were lots of questions. And then we suddenly realizing that half my time is going into answering a lot of these questions. And then perhaps, so the way in which we are working is, we are also learning as we're going by. We haven't figured out the technology as yet. This is probably one of the most active moves that we have offered until now. So which meant that we were quite unprepared for a lot of things. And I do apologize for not being unprepared, but then when do we start? Right? We can never start saying that we now figured out everything. We just have to go as entrepreneurs, as Professor Saras also always says, is you should always apologize. Because you're doing things which are not yet ready, you're pushing things which are not yet ready, and you don't ask permission, you just go ahead and do it. Right? So therefore, from the course perspective, from terms of learning perspective, it's been like pretty intensive for us. We have been poking around the technology, we've been poking around on how do we do this. We've never done something like this in the past. So did you all introduce money? So Money, you can raise your hand. So Money's startup was at NSRCELWEP. We were trying to figure out how to do live streaming. I think we sent a mail saying that we can't do live streaming. And that was when we realized, looking up the word technologies, next time around what could we do. And then we realized that there was one in our backyard who could do it for us. And so we asked, we kind of stopped Money yesterday saying that, can you do it? He was surprised and said yes. He said, can you do it tomorrow? Bharat and he quickly, Alan, Bharat and Money did a trial run yesterday. It was working well, let's see how it goes. So as you realize, like, we are unprepared at a lot of levels. And that is also because of we're trying to change things, we're trying to do things in a manner. There's one thing that I want to tell you all. Don't worry if you have, your buttons are not, you're submitted, it doesn't show up, or that you sent a mail, you haven't replied. So none of those things are going to matter. Okay, we're going to take all of them. So whatever, whenever you submitted, we have taken them in. We have, so whether you have submitted, people, some women have been flexible on the deadlines in. So we're okay with that. Somebody has asked us saying that, can I submit? I said yes. In entrepreneurship, there are no rules, right? You just form your rules as you go on. And therefore, anybody who submitted this will take rules. Don't worry that your numbers are not going to add up or whether you're going to get this. Are all, if you are submitted, if you have a mail ID, it's in. Whether a button is, you can't submit it setting that around. Don't worry about that. And having taken that out of, but if you have something to say?
Yes, no.
Bharat is tongue-tied.
It's just that when they start asking us the questions, it is very compulsory that we have the mic on.
Okay.
So you have to raise your hands and I give you the mic because that is very important for us to record.
So what we're going to do is we probably have about 15-20 minutes for me to answer any questions that you have in terms of submissions, in terms of what we're going to do. We're going to have Saris come in at 5, so 4:30 to 5. We have a short coffee break that we could talk and interact and know each other. Then we'll have Saris come in. Then Saris, as you all know, is the person who has put together this effectuation course. He's a very, very renowned faculty member across the world. And since here we thought we could again change the rules, have her say yes, and then she's willing to come here. So do ask her any kind of questions. It just doesn't have to be with effectuation in terms of that, whatever questions that you have, but in terms of setting up a venture, running a venture, on effectuation, whatever, she's very open and she'll answer most of these questions. So, yeah, you have. So who has the mic and ask the question?
Bharat.
Of all women and entrepreneurs who've been there on board, I would like to thank IIM and you, sir, Bharat, Aarti. This was a superb program overall. Something which pushed us out of the inertia and something which actually the initial phase where we had to talk to strangers was literally not easy. it required a lot of guts to talk to the first two strangers, but beyond that is when we got to understand what is it that you were pushing us towards. So I would want to thank you for pushing at least me out of that inertia.
I was talking to students the other day saying that you have to go and ask questions. He said, my problem that I'm trying to solve is for singles. And she said, it may not look very good for me to go ask men around, are you single? I hope nothing like that. I said, you could try, but I don't know what she may have changed the business idea now. Yes. Bharat.
Okay, good afternoon everybody, and thank you Professor, thank you Bharat and Aarti and the entire team again. What she said exactly what's motivated me to do this course. And I've been lagging, I mean in the first two assignments I submitted later and all of that. Right now what happened is, post the week 3 assignment I've kind of got on to one idea. But now when the week 4 started with the effectuation and all, I kind of go back to some other ideas and I feel, yes, this looks more promising in terms of, you know, the loss principles and the other bird in hand and all of that. So, is it possible for me to do 2 lean canvases, or it has to be only one that I need to submit?
No, the final submission, look, the choice of what is the idea that you're going to come up that we should evaluate you on is your call. So you don't put both of them and say like, you'll decide which one is better. Right? This is not best of 3, best of 2. So you decide which one. It's okay saying that in week 3, here is the idea that I submitted. But during week 4 and week 5, I changed my idea, that's my new idea, that's okay.
I'm not able to, how do I get to that conclusion? I'm just too confused, so how do I take it forward?
You are looking here? In the sense that you have to, because look, I don't want to take that judgment decision based on yours, right? There is no right or wrong decision. At the end of the day, there is some decision and you have to make it work. So you say that if you believe that taking all of this into account, something else starts to seem more interesting, push that out.
Okay, so the final idea that you would base...
I want one idea from each of you all and one pitch that you're going to get. I don't want 2. Week 4, you should have had 2, week 5, you should have had 2. But if you're still undecided, I can say I'll have a look at it, then I'll have to then say I'll look at everybody. And then I'm already having 30 students whose business plans are looking on every basis. So you take a judgment call and then submit out.
But the very fact that
So here's another thing, right? So did we use Rajiv as well? Rajiv, so Rajiv is a COO of the NSRCELWEP Center for Entrepreneurial Learning. So hearing us speak about the interest and the intent with which you all have been participating, so he's quite keen on saying that let's just not say it's going to be only for 50 women, but maybe the 50 women are going to come in January and finish the boot camp. But we'll have to see ways and means as we should include anybody who has been interested in setting up an enterprise. So he's been keen on saying that how do we now make sure that give mentoring, give launch. So we have multiple other venues. Right? 3-week holiday on IM we can't promise, but there are other ways in which we'll be happy to engage with you all and work with your idea through February onwards. Right? So it doesn't matter if you have an idea that doesn't seem very good and you come here and talk to a mentor and he says the one which you did not submit is a good one. That's serendipity and that's how I'm going to grow, right? So to all of you, like, we are open to discussing with you all, just not, so we don't want to say that only 50 people are going to be here. We're going to work with whoever wants to work beyond. It doesn't even have to be from Bangalore. We have 30 mentors. They're looking at mentoring across cities as well. So it doesn't have to be Bangalore based. Even if you're not in Bangalore, those of you logging in from outside, if you're willing to mentor your post we finish this 26th of February, we'll have to start to think again. So that opportunity exists. So you don't have to see it very well.
Thank you, sir. So a question on lean canvas model. You had mentioned that we need to put some numbers when it comes for cost and the revenue part.
No, headings.
And
So it doesn't have to be numbers.
Okay.
So you're saying that these are the ones which are going to be the ones which will cost me, right? Buying the equipment, renting the equipment, or buying somebody. So some line items, we don't need numbers there.
Okay, so so it's perfectly fine, just for my clarity, it's perfectly fine if the lead canvas model does not have any numbers also.
Perfect, yeah.
Thank you.
It's the same question I also want
Yeah,
to ask.
so we don't need numbers at this point of time because numbers are all fiction. You can have any number that you want.
Yeah, we are in a very initial stage of our this venture idea, so we cannot give you the actual number.
Correct? Yeah, like, so it doesn't matter. We don't expect numbers because even if you give numbers, we don't believe. So you will give numbers, but we will not believe in it because it's too early. A lot of things may change once you start interacting with customers.
So, would IIT be launching a batch 2 of Do Your Venture program? If yes, when would that be?
Aarti. Aarti is always happy to say yes, saying that we're going to offer one more. Because actually 5th of Jan is one starting. No, but we can. So this 5th of Jan is a same program is going to start, but it doesn't have the release that we have for this one. And those we're expecting people to pay us to give certification. But you can do it free if you want to. Do we give certificates? We don't even do certificates.
That's on edX.
So that's on edX platform. That's not on IIT platform. That's on edX.
Okay.
So there is one starting on 5th of Jan.
What's the difference?
Nothing. So this is only for women.
So that will be on.
That will be for women.
Yeah. Okay, one thing is, I'm going a little back to submission. And after that I have another question.
May I ask the second question first?
Actually, that is what I was thinking, but the other one came up too. Okay, now the second question is actually, when we say resources, feasibility and scalability, we had resources, feasibility and scalability. We had submitted an assignment on that. After I submitted the assignment, I kept thinking and reading back my submission. That's when I said you can't actually filter all the 3 separately into 3 different paragraphs. They're all interdependent. And sometimes I felt that interdependent fields were stronger fields than them being separate. Can you sort of talk
So
more?
here is, look, the thing with entrepreneurship is that anything I tell you can be falsified. Right? If you say that you want to be successful, you should start in your 20s, then McDonald's guy started in his 50s when he had half, he says half his liver was not working, and he started 54 was when he first started his McDonald's. So KFC, Colonel Sanders was like 60s, but this guy actually thought of scaling it up. So anything I say as a formula for success in entrepreneurship can be disproved as soon as I scale it, right? So these are just heuristic indicators, the better heuristics, the better indicators, and we are trying to get them. But if you were to say, how do we now look at feasibility resources? It's a very simple thumb rule that you can say that if I don't have the resources, there are a lot of people come to me and saying that, look, I don't know anything about technology, but I want to build the software. I said, why do you want to do that? So I don't know anything about design, but I want to come up with this UI building services. So we believe that whenever you don't have your core resources that the venture requires, is not part of the founding team, it doesn't make sense for us. Right? So this is a kind of indicator of feasibility in the sense that if somebody asks Wright brothers saying that is heavier than air flying object feasible? Obviously, until early 1900s, it was not. Somebody had to sleep, dream, and thinking that it is possible for us to come up with heavier than air flying object. So I'm not saying that it is not feasible because there's some guy out there or some woman out there who's having sleepless nights thinking of how do I change this particular world and put a dent in the universe. So which is why these are all indicators.
So we could work backwards also. We can start with scalability, we can, how it can be scaled up, start from there by raising funds and then come to feasibility also.
You could do that. You could do whatever. You could do say that, okay, I want to, like for instance, Amagi, right? I talked about Amagi. They said we want to be $1 billion company, product company out of India. That was the starting point. And they said, so which industry should I get into? What kind of technology I need to get into? Started after they decided that we're going to build a scalable $1 billion product venture out of India. So that's perfectly okay. Depends on what is it. It's easier to start with problem solution instead of saying that I'm going to change the world. They can say I can change the world because they already sold one company for $15 million. There are people waiting to invest in them. So they understand this entire sector. So they can think of ways and means they can put a dent in the business. So it's perfectly okay for you to start wherever. The easiest place to start is problem solution. If there's a problem, then you know that there are going to be customers. If you say scalable, then you build technology, it's not necessary that that will be successful. Starting here.
The idea I am taking forward, in that idea, the technical part in that idea, I am just greenfield enough. I don't means I'm very little, I'm just greenfield in the technical part. So if this will be the hurdle for me or it will not be the hurdle.
So this is how you bring in co-founders. So you could bring in co-founders to together work on the idea and complete the idea. You say that idea makes sense, I just need to get a co-founder and I have some sense of who I should bring in as a co-founder. That may work as well. You don't have to have, you're saying that the resources have to be in the team, it has to be the founding team.
Hi Professor, my name is Lalita. I already run a business called Outsmart where we work with startups. So the reason for me enrolling in this course was to pick up some tools which we could in turn support our customers in. And it seems like Lean Canvas is going off like hotcakes right now. We are already trying that with a couple of startup clients that we use. I hope there's no problem in what we're doing. In taking this model again.
This is not my idea. Effectuation is somebody else. Lean Canvas is somebody else's.
Yeah, so we,
I copied from somewhere.
so we kind of.
So next time around, give those as examples so that we could, when women are asking you as examples of Lean Canvas that people have built, so we could probably use your Lean Canvases as
an easier model for our startup clients rather than the earlier business plan and stuff like that that we're using. So coming back to the Amagi case, does that become a causal model rather than an effectuation?
It becomes very causal. We're not saying that A is better than B, but effectual is always easier because then the locus of control is within us. But if you're causal, then we're not sure whether we can build that or not. The resources are falling into this. So if you are able to get those resources,
Hi all. I thank IM and all the professors here for giving us this opportunity. And Aarti at any point of time felt like you are getting 80% of the discussion forum. Probably on the lighter note, I would say welcome to the world of women entrepreneurs. Okay. So Professor, the question is for the phase 2. You said like there will be some top 50 ideas that would be selected out of the lot. Do you have any set of criteria or the rules that you are thinking?
I'm not going to tell the criteria, I'm not going to tell the criteria because then everybody is working towards that, right?
Okay.
So in the sense I said, there's only one thing I said, it has to be interesting. So you tell us why it is interesting.
Okay.
Actually, I wouldn't want you to be on that selection panel. We're going to be looking together a bunch of people that are going to put on that selection panel who have been looking like some of our mentors and probably one or two people from Goldman Sachs. And let them decide what the criteria is going to be, because it doesn't make sense for me to say that this is a good idea, this is not a good idea. So this is what we did, this is what has come out, somebody is going to be the panel, and we felt that separating the selection, because that's what we do at NSRCELWEP, we separate, the selection committee is different from the mentoring and NSRCELWEP. So these are outsiders, and we always felt that having two-stage selection is always interesting. In as much as that is the vaguest and answer that I could give you for a reason, right? I don't want to put pigeonholes and say this is what students.
Yeah, so you just said that you can't tell the criteria and we have to make it interesting. The canvas is only so much. We cannot tell too much about our idea, I mean as much as we can tell otherwise. So in that much, how can...
That is not actually enough.
Yeah, even that one.
Look, we have mentors who listen to ideas day in and day out. So even if you start talking, they would figure out and complete the rest of the sentence for you. Because they've been seeing hundreds and hundreds. So this year that you would basically know. You don't have to give us lots of material.
Thank you.
Given us about 4 or 5 canvases, right? We can based on that. So it's not about the idea, it's a lot of other things in terms of the space, the capability, all of them.
Thank you, sir. Sir, till now I just see you in a webinar, so it's really exciting to see you here. So, in my idea, what they would be so happy, and they just say that no, we do not want this. Define my idea.
So, like for instance, let me give an example. If I'm getting what you're saying, right? A lot of people say that I would like to have a student who is saying I would want to. So, pivot is